Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast and the first episode of 2022. This is episode number 140, Where Does the Time Go? And I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, as usual here with my handsome friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
I am surviving, you handsome bastard. How are you?
Yeah, motivated. Gonna kick 2020 in the cunt. Actually, that's not true at all.
2022, you mean?
Exactly, yeah.
You're back in time, eh?
Exactly. I'm so unprepared for 2022, I don't even know that it's 2022. Gonna kick 2022 in the cunt from my bed. That's my plan.
That's a great place to kick things from the cunt.
Yeah.
Or in the cunt, rather.
Just gonna go and hibernate because I can't be doing it. It's it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
It's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
Aye. Look, at the end of the day, we're going to have the year that we make of it. I think there's...
Well, we have the year that the government will allow us to have.
Okay, fair enough, right? Between the government and unfound versions and variants of COVID and whatever else goes wrong, potentially, aye. But fuck it, we'll just plan for good things and we'll go on with it, won't we? We'll Bill O'Reilly it. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Well, yeah, we do have no choice in the matter, so we'll just take it as it comes.
Yes.
But such is life. We are coming off the back of the live episode. For those of you that missed that, please do head on over to the YouTube channel and check it. It's 3 hours long.
3.5 hours or 3 hours?
I feel like it was just shy of 3 hours, but you could be right. It could have been over 3.5 hours. And we did this. We went through all of these cards with guitar players' names, and we shuffled them up, and we drew two at a time. Let's test Mike. Right, so I'm going to draw two cards.
Right, test me.
You tell me who wins. So these two.
Okay, test me.
Vinnie Moore, Greg Howe.
I'm saying Vinnie Moore, but
You're going to say Vinnie Moore?
I don't know enough Greg Howe stuff to really say, and I think...
Sure.
I don't. This is really disrespectful. Both of them have kind of fell off as of recent. You get me? Like, they were both pretty high up names.
Greg's still definitely higher up than Vinnie, I would say.
I
Because Greg's still
being a
active
kind
on
of a fusion guy, isn't he?
and he's still, releasing signature products and stuff like that, whereas Vinnie really has kind of fallen off.
I think he's just playing for UFO these days. Is that right?
I think I would prefer Vinnie Moore. I'd rather play like Vinnie Moore, but I think Greg is probably the more influential guitar player of the two. Not for you, obviously. I know that
Thanks
Vinnie
for
was
testing me.
hugely influential on you.
I don't even know that much Vinnie Moore. I just love the fact that he's so clean and he does neoclassical really well.
Yeah. It wasn't really a test. It was like, if you enjoyed what you saw there, guys, head on over, check out that live stream, because there's 3 hours of that, and we take votes on things from you guys.
And we got drunk.
And we got drunk, yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
So that was fun. Trying to think if there's any other housekeeping. Oh yeah, of course. So update on the Buy Me a Coffee thing. Buy Me a Coffee have just shat it. They've essentially just shat it. We still have an account there. Since they turned off PayPal for you guys, I've obviously not received any payments from them. I went into the account yesterday to see what was happening. It must have been a couple of months of not going in and logging it, checking the details. There's $12 in the account. So like, They've just completely shat it. They've killed their business.
And on that note, we're rich now, so we're off.
Yeah. So toying around with some other ideas, but bring you that in future. And obviously, I'm very aware that there's a couple of people on there that did pay for a year's membership. They are essentially locked on there now. We're going to still continue to bring you content.
Yes.
But yeah, the ever-evolving nature of business, right?
And you can tell us exactly what you want in return for that support, because we'll be more than happy to do what we can, taking suggestions and offers of ideas, because we've kind of found it hard to get the bonus episodes up as often as we'd like to. I think just with real life, sickness, fucking COVID, other obligations, Christmas, New Year, all that shit. So,
on slightly more positive note, I'm not bald. See, I have hair.
But you weren't bald to start with. You just shaved your head.
Yeah, I need to go and do something about it though, because I have a double crown, so my hair just goes. So that's looking fun. I should probably put a hat on, shouldn't I?
A koozlik, as they call it here.
I know the koozlik is here.
Not necessarily. It can be any part of your hair that just sticks
Is
up
that
and
true?
won't go down. Yeah, you know what's a Scottish term for it? Doubting Thomas. Named after one of the disciples that shopped in Jesus. You're Doubting Thomas.
There you go. You learn something new every day. Yes. I'm all for learning things. So, for example, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs. Absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string. I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. And just like that, I'm Jared Dine. So as always, thank you to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification.
Yes.
Link in the description for those guys. Go and give them some love and support as we head into another year with each other. 2022. How exciting. I'm still same thing. Like I need to pull my finger out my ass and make a video talking about this guitar, but I'm just repeating myself now. Like if I'm demotivated with guitar related content because I'm demotivated with the online guitar scene.
Music in general, I think, unless it's on a piano.
I'm super into music. I'm listening to more music than ever, and I'm having a great time with it. But yeah, it's just the people. Like I did a live stream yesterday transcribing some Malmsteen, and the reason I did it is because I just saw someone from the Edinburgh Jazz and Blues Festival like shitting all over some guy on Facebook because he had the nerve to say that he likes Malmsteen and he likes his blues playing, and this guy's just like, yeah, but it's not blues. Like, what do you mean it's not blues? He's playing over a 12-bar blues, and he's playing blues licks. He's playing Clapton licks over it. He's playing Gary Moore licks over it. Yeah, but it's not a blues. Blues is more than just playing blues stuff over a blues. Like,
Guitarists are the most tribal, fucking musicians.
Absolute disgusting gatekeeping wank. Like I just can't.
And on that note, if it's not death metal, fuck it.
Yeah. Metal musicians have got a similar reputation for
Yes.
that's not real metal, and I just like, you want your communities to be bigger, you want your communities to grow, and if somebody comes into the metal scene thinking Disturbed are the pinnacle of metal, then or Hailstorm or whatever, they think they're the pinnacle of metal, you don't achieve anything by telling them you're wrong, fuck off. Like, embrace them, bring them in, and then they'll learn more about the bands that you love too, and you know, hopefully they'll see the light.
Or
I like both Disturbed and Hailstorm. Carry on.
I've never really listened to Hailstorm. I used to really like Disturbed,
Yeah.
and anybody that says they didn't like Disturbed, they didn't have some sort of formative part of you as a musician. If you play metal, guitar tone or rhythm, riff wise, or even vocal wise, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. Whether you like it or not, that's just the facts.
So don't be a gatekeeping asshole.
Yes, do yourself one better. Just say, oh, I listened to those bands, or I didn't, but I actually quite like this band who are similar but do something different. Introduce people to new music. Don't just shit on what they're listening to. Fucking hell.
Well, and I think the thing that irked me so much about this is this guy was, when asked, like, can you explain that further? His response was, look, I know blues, just trust me. Like, fuck off. Get in the bin, you absolute cunt.
Yes, terrible, terrible human.
Right, so we are going to jump on with a couple of bits of fan mail that were sent in after the live show.
Ooh.
So that's kind of cool. As usual, please do send us content that we can talk about to GsolesFanMail@gmail.com, because we never know. We absolutely never know if there's going to be any decent news stories to talk about.
It's true.
There's a fair few things that we can bring up today, but none of them are really like decent things to talk about. You know what I mean?
There's not a lot of music industry or music business news. It's more like clickbait headlines,
Sure.
isn't it? But fuck it, let's get some humour going.
But getting in with your questions is so much more exciting and interesting, where we can talk about opinions rather than just laughing at things that have happened this week.
Yeah. I've got a suggestion for next week, and people can tell us tonight in the live stream. This has been filmed on Monday morning, by the way, or Monday afternoon rather. If you fancy it, and I'm going to put you in the spot as well. Party Cannon's new album listening party next Monday.
Yeah.
Sound it?
Oh,
It comes out on the 14th, which is Friday, I believe. It's Monday the 10th,
Thursday?
Friday the 14th.
Thursday?
Is it Thursday?
Oh, it's
No,
Friday.
Friday.
Apparently I can't do numbers.
It's alright, I totally doubted myself as well.
Yeah.
So Volumes of Vomit comes out on the 14th, cannot wait.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to hear what people think of it, with a few good reviews so far. But that's something we could maybe do.
Cannot wait to hate every second of it.
Oh, you're going to hate beyond every second of it. You've heard it, to be fair.
Yeah,
you
I've
know
heard
every
a lot
second
of it.
of
I've
it.
heard a lot of it, yeah.
for your sins.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So Adam wrote in. I think Adam was in the chat as well, was he not?
I don't
Or
know.
has been before.
Too much, mate.
He was in the Christmas stream. I knew it. Right. Hey guys, long time listener. Love the podcast. Never get to watch it live, but always look forward to the replays. Thanks very much, Adam. Speaking of which, I am currently in the midst of the Christmas stream and took interest in your conversation about Glenn Fricker and the subject of bedroom musicians. I started thinking about a couple of different things I'd like to share and get your perspective on. First, Glenn's opinion about bedroom musicians being the future and the implications about future metal music production. I feel like Glenn and other producers of his generation are stuck in a loop that, for lack of a better term, mainstream metal has been stuck in since the 80s. For all Glenn talks about finding new tones or unique sounds to make metal more interesting, I think the idea of gear or settings being part of a unique sound needs to be abandoned. Sepultura wasn't unique because they used dual Rex or JCM 800s or whatever. They were unique because they incorporated elements of Brazilian folk and tribal music into their sound. With so much available to the bedroom musician these days, we should be getting all sorts of different fusions of sound to take metal into the future, not the 17th sub-genre of core.
He makes a very good point there. There is an inherent contradiction in Glenn's views, which is it's stop sticking an SM57 in front of a Mesa 4x12 powered by a Mesa dual rec, because everybody uses the same sound and therefore everything's sterile. We should try new things. We should do new things, but yet when people do new things that don't involve going to his studio, it's like, oh, this is bad. Though, of course, he's changing his view on that. Now he can start selling new products that fit within that sort of thing.
Well, there is that.
So, yeah. Business is a funny old horse, isn't it?
Of course it is, because people want... We want the same, but we also want different. We want what's better, but still relatable.
And it's incredibly easy to hate something until you have the ability to sell it, and then suddenly it's the best thing in the fucking world.
Potentially, aye.
So, speaking of which, have you tried these new diet pills? Carry on.
Behave, Lizzo.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It was you that brought that up. I never seen the stream or anything, which is strange for her, considering she's never really been anybody to talk about weight loss or whatever. She's always been I am who I am.
Body positivity, yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, I don't know. I think you make a good point, Adam, and I think it's way more important that people are doing new stuff musically than they are doing in terms of sonically. But at the same time, I have no problem with people trying out new stuff and bringing new textures to music and stuff. Yeah. For example, it's not a massive step outside of the box, but one of the last albums I heard that had a really unique sound to it in terms of guitar tones and stuff. Two that stick in my mind, actually: Sun Eater by Job for a Cowboy, because the bass is so prevalent over the guitars. The mix is very bass heavy, which brings a completely different texture to the death metal scene anyway, in my mind. But also Naveen Coppervice's stuff, the Flesh Rot album. Can't remember the name yet. Anyway, there's only one album. Flesh Rot is in like wrought iron, twisted. And on that, the guitars sound quite synthy, almost like they're distorted to the point of becoming like a sine wave, like they're being crippled in. But it sounds really good. It fits the music. The music itself's kind of already pretty synthetic sounding and feeling, if you get what I mean by that. The drums are so tight, and I don't think they're programmed, but they're certainly like sampled in the same way that Meshuggah does, that kind of mechanical style of sound, which is really cool. So I totally get what you're saying, and I would agree. I think it's a
weird one though, isn't it? Because
it's a grey area.
Metal is very much a genre where production can be part of the tool, can be part of the composition. With everything you were talking about there, I wanted to interject and be like, the thing is, if you take a good song and record it poorly, you've still got a good song. Whereas if you take a really generic, boring, average song and do a pristine recording of it, you've still got a really generic and boring song. So you need good material. You need good music, and that's just based on now putting myself more into the blues and soul area or the jazz area, where that is very much the case. Whereas actually with metal, you can lean more into your production because you sometimes it's more about the music than the song, if that makes sense. You
can also go the opposite direction with the production. There's a lot of metal bands that sit on the fringe that are happy.
Sure.
Party Can have done it, to be honest. Rather than going for the super polished sound and edit and everything, it's been we'd rather it sounded like us, like how we sound if we're live and whatever else. It's our equipment.
Yeah.
It's as close to what the mix would sound like if you went to see us live in almost any venue.
Yeah.
I do like that, but I think it's quite a unique thing to the metal scene.
Sure.
And it's almost like, not counterproductive, but it's like a completely different view from a lot of other genres. Almost like you're talking about production.
Yeah.
You would never find a pop artist who's went, well, actually, we didn't spend a lot of time editing the song, and we didn't auto-tune the vocals, and we didn't put in those extra layers.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not that doesn't fit that texture of the music.
Sure.
Secondly, with regards to music in general rather than metal, do you think it's viable for a band or artist to radically experiment now that the album is basically a dead format? I think that, with very few exceptions, Primus, the Melvins, Devon, bands that deviated too far from their established format tended to alienate their fan bases and either fall or become a shadow of their former selves. Do you think that bedroom musicians and their quick access to so many sounds makes fans more forgiving? Or do you think that everything technically becomes 80s hip-hop because it's all sampled?
Yeah, that feels like the deepest of questions, and I don't know if I fully understand the question. If that makes any sense. Is that me just missing a parcel? I think so.
Potentially.
Or
Go and
is
get it.
No, that's good.
Sure?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. That's fine. That's Mel leaving.
All right, fair enough. Do you think it's viable for a band or artist to radically experiment now that the album is basically a dead format?
Yeah, I think you have to define radically, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Dev, because all I was going to say is Devon's latest album, I can't even remember the name yet. Puzzle is like a really weird soundscape noise album, and it's so different. So different to what I've used to, other than DevLab, to what I'm doing. But it's really intriguing to listen to because it's so weird.
Sure.
Like, it doesn't seem like a music album. It seems like an album of just ambient sounds.
But so the question is, do you think the
musicians?
bedroom, musicians and the quick access to so many sounds makes fans more forgiving? No, that's it's not the fans would be forgiving of it. It's that's what the fans expect.
I've gone on a tangent. Like, you wouldn't criticise people for using different spices and ingredients if they were cooking at home, for example. I don't think it makes whoever's eating the dinner more forgiving or less forgiving. I think it's just a different
I don't know.
flavour.
If somebody put fucking curry powder in my cereal, I'd be pretty furious.
I don't mean as in just throwing shit in.
Yeah.
I mean like a genuine thought of actually experimenting and trying to make something that's interesting out yet. I get that the last sentence is a bit flippant. I'm only partially kidding on that last sentence, but in my opinion, I really don't care how an artist gets their sound, or even if the performance basically consists of pressing a spacebar. If the songs are good, I can forgive shortcuts. Anyway, sorry for the long-winded email, not at all. Keep up the podcast, be safe, and as always, fuck the Tories. They're a bitch here in Canada as well. Cheers, guys. Adam. Yes, Adam. I get where you're coming from. I think people who are good, even if they're bedroom producers, at finding different sounds and textures and building their own sound banks, I suppose, is a cool thing. It's really good, but it can also cause a bit of analysis paralysis as well.
Sure.
Innit?
Yeah.
What can you do? John Brown also wrote into us. Happy 2022 to you both. Thanks for your company this last year. May 2022 bring you peace, love and happiness. Much love, John. Thanks very much. And at this point, I'd obviously fuck the Tories, but they seem to be doing a pretty good job of fucking themselves, which is nice. Thanks, John. Thanks very much. And if Boris can survive leaving his wife with cancer and everything else that's happened within the Tory party in the last 10, 15 years, that being one example, they're pretty fucking Teflon at this point. Yeah. Even Boris admitting to being in COVID wards, shaking hands with people who had COVID and all the rest of it, and then getting COVID, didn't kill him. Or his career, for that matter.
Right, tell us about Chance's Answers.
Right, so we've not brought this up, really.
Chance's
Despite
Answers
it being a thing we're going to do.
Was a short-lived, and by
concept.
Short-lived, a never-existed concept, where we would essentially, see people selling guitars on Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree or Craigslist for you Americans, and we would get in contact if there was something not right about the product. So maybe they were selling a brand new Fender that they'd taken a belt sander to, and they were trying to pass it off as a vintage 60s telly or whatever it happened to be.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to see what answers these chances would give us. So what's this story?
It's a bit of a tangent from Chance's Answers then in the way you've described it. This is more so somebody making a really abrupt offer, and then essentially this is an example for me of how not to approach someone if you want to buy something. Sure. Right? It's pretty bad. Anyway, I've got a set of old shitty speakers up for sale. They're not shitty. A set of old speakers, Mordant Short, kind of old hi-fi speakers, right? They sound good, but I'm not using them.
Yep.
Put them up for somebody else to get and use for their hi-fi, right? Put it up for 40 quid thinking I would get offers and I'd be open to offers, right?
Sure.
What's hard about that?
Sure.
So I got a message saying, these still available? Yes, they are. I do £10 for the pair. I take nothing's broken in them. I'm like, right, so you've asked. The price is 40
I
quid.
do suck my balls.
I was like, right, so they're up for 40 quid. I'm open to offers, but a tenner. So I just wrote back, lol, and left it at that. So the guy wrote back, those are old speakers from the early 90s. I will do £10 for them. If you're not interested, then okay. I'm in this area. I could collect round about whenever, but it's up to you, mate. And I just replied, do you often offer quarter of the asking price, then act like the seller is being unreasonable? And he sent me a wee shrugging emoji. Right, just a meh. If you're not interested, then okay. Just let me know. And then about half an hour later, he messaged me, I can only leave the house just now, as later on I'm looking after my son. And I just texted him back saying, I'm not at home at the moment, and I've given a few indications that I'm clearly not interested in selling at that price. Right? And he went, right, okay, thanks.
Oh, wow! So I've got I do have them. I was going to bring these up for people.
I've not hidden the guy's
but that it's
name, so
yeah,
feel a bit bad that
it's
way.
also so I can't zoom in on it. So
For whatever reason, I can zoom in on my phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so right, okay, thanks. Wee bit of time later, hi mate, if you will change your mind, then please let me know, as I got a small amplifier off from my friend for free and just need speakers. Thanks. Didn't reply. 6 hours later, hi, I'll be going to Glasgow Hospital tomorrow with my kid, so could collect him on the way back. So please let me know what you think. Thanks. And then another message straight after it, we've got an appointment at 3 p.m. So I replied just saying, sure, at £40. I just felt like, you're not getting my point here. You're being a wanker. If you're that bothered about them, why are you so insistent? With they're cheap shite, they're no worth money. But you're so insistent you want them.
Because he got a free amp from his pal, right? This man is never going to pay more than £10 for speakers.
But there's going to be speakers on fucking Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, at £10, priced that way, no doubt whatsoever. You see them all the time.
Sure.
Right? So I was like, okay. So I wrote, sure, at 40. He replies, sorry mate, I'm not paying 40 for those speakers. Thanks anyway then. I just text him back saying, no worries, I'm not selling them for £10. If they're not worth any more than that, why are you so insistent on buying them? Right? Just like, what is the fucking problem here?
Yeah.
Because I don't need any high-end speakers, and yours are almost 30 years old, and if they're still working, then great, but I'm not going to pay £40 for them. Thanks anyway then. Why did you fucking message me in the first place and no listen when I said I won't do them for £10?
Yeah, there's nothing more telling than when somebody repeatedly messages you with gaps in between the times of them. Like, this is someone that's desperately chasing.
For what I but still thinks that they can tell me what the price of something I have and what the value is of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm open to offers. I'm not stupid, and I'm also the type that would take it if somebody says, by the way, I tell you, see, even if he'd come back to me and said, here's an eBay link to the last 3 sets that sold them and this is the price they went for, I'd be like, right, fair enough, that gives an actual idea of what the market value is. But I did that before I fucking listed them, didn't I? Cunt. Anyway, so he said, oh, I'm not going to pay 40 for them, thanks anyway. So I just replied, well, like I said, I'm not going to sell them for £10 either. What you think they're worth won't change that. I'd have been open to offers had you not come in so strong. And then he replied saying, I can do £15 for both, but that's my highest. And I just said back, sorry man, best keep the £15 then. And all I got was a thumbs up back. And I just thought, like, this was a great example of just how not to conduct yourself when you're trying to buy something or sell something.
Well, the advice there is don't offer someone 1/4 of what they're asking. That's
just, if you're going to
lowball,
not even that, if you're going to lowball, at least have the decency to say, like, I know it's a bit of a low offer.
Yeah.
Or just be fucking human. Don't come in and try and tell somebody, well, that's cheap shite and it's not even worth it. Like, why do you want to buy it then, you fucking wanker?
Sure.
Anyway, enough. That was a wee rage time for me. That's good.
Well, I appreciate rage time, so that's
doesn't happen that often anymore, does it?
It doesn't. But I'm going to rage about this. Michael Romeo, Symphony X, posts a new solo track, Divide and Conquer. Yeah.
Is it bad? Is it good?
No, I mean, it just sounds like a Symphony X track with a different singer on it. It sounds like Iconoclast era Symphony X, which, to be fair, is my favourite era of Symphony X.
Just sounds like Romeo then.
It just sounds like a Symphony X album with a different singer. And you could even argue that the singer is better than Russell Allen, but it doesn't matter. It sounds like the band that I love with someone else singing in it, so I'm not here for it. But the issue I have with this, and I posted about this on Discord when this was shared, Michael Romeo has unfortunately now shifted into that category of musicians older generation musicians who have fucked any opportunity that they could possibly have of being successful or relevant in the current climate. And the reason I say that is because they are so fucking out of touch with what it takes in order to reach your audience in this day and age. They just have no concept of it. When the last album came out, I'm sure you remember me saying on the podcast, like I reached out to Michael's PR team to try and sort out an interview for him on the channel. Like, who better to do an interview with him? Like an engaged interview with somebody that is really passionate about your music and who has an audience. Like these are the people that you want talking about your album.
It does help that you've got such a back catalogue of people you've already interviewed as well, and you've got an established name in the music industry.
Exactly.
You used to, how many fucking different places did you work for?
I've done
of
work
great
with,
name, you know what I mean?
Plenty of magazines. So
exactly.
The point is, good opportunity for you to promote the album. And I'm not asking for money or anything. Like I'm looking to create content. I'm passionate about what you're doing, so I'm a good person to do that with. They came back and was like, Michael's happy to do interviews, but he only does telephone interviews. It's like, motherfucker, this isn't 1986. Like, you can't. No, I'm not doing a telephone interview on YouTube. And they're like, well, he'll only do a telephone interview. And I'm like, I want you to understand that when Michael realizes that he's made a mistake there, I'll be here continuing to make video content for people, right? When Michael comes into the 21st century, I'm more than happy to do a video interview, but no thank you, I'm not doing a telephone interview. You just can't do that in this day and age. It's not enough.
It'd be totally different if your or if, for example, the channel had actually become a podcast on its own and it was just like voice interviews on SoundCloud or whatever. Yeah. But you're right, like nobody is going to sit and listen to an interview with absolutely no visuals. Yeah. And better than that, you're very unlikely to just do a telephone interview with somebody.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And on top of that, like when it comes to this particular song from the new album, so Justin Hombach has done a full cover of this song. Right?
How does Justin manage to do that? I mean, the songs are barely out and he's like, I know every riff.
Yeah. But that's the point, right? So I heard about this track, that Michael had released a new track, because Justin released the cover of it, okay? The first version that I heard of Michael Romeo's new song was someone else playing it, right? That's how fucking out of touch he is with reaching people, right? I should be the easiest person in the world to reach for someone like Michael Romeo when he's got new music out, because I'm one of his biggest fucking fans. Mm-hmm. It should be, this shit should be hitting my fucking inbox.
Is that necessarily him though, or is that maybe something to do with his management and whatever
else?
It's
exactly. It's his management, but it's kind of like, the Eric Clapton situation and the lawyers and me saying, well, it wasn't Eric that signed off on these things, but at the end of the day, these people are representing him. Yeah, it's when record labels make deals with Spotify and
like when you got the
we still work with these people.
Like when you get the copyright strikes and took your channel down a few years ago. That same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, or it might be someone else doing it, but in this scenario, like, you still work with these people. So, Michael, you're stuck in a contract with a label and PR people that are doing a worse job of promoting your music than people on Facebook. Like, it's just, it's tragic. So, if you want to go and check out Michael Romeo's new single, Divide and Conquer, it's not bad. It's not a bad tune, but
I've no doubt there'll be some absolutely face-melting solos on it, but yeah, I'm just not really that bothered about it.
No, sure. Okay, let's...
Not to say that time we went to see Symphony X, I wasn't blown out the fucking water.
Here's the thing, though. If you listen to that single, you're just going to hear loads of things you've heard before. Like, literally, the chorus in it sounds like the song In My Darkest Hour from the last Symphony X album. Like, you could sing the melody of In My Darkest Hour at the top of it, and it fits perfectly. So, yeah, you plagiarised yourself there, son. Same with the guitar solo. There's loads of things in there where it's like, yep, heard you play that one before. Yep, heard you play that one before. Now, I'm okay with it because it's still more of what I love. It's more of the same. But yeah, I just take issue with the unwillingness to wake up to the 2022 that we live in and how you promote yourself in that.
Fair, totally fair. It's really weird that an artist would have somebody else like promoting your music before you would. Yeah. As you say with Justin.
But here's the thing with Justin's, I mean, I'm not going to say took issue. It was certainly a questionable video that he put up because he did the cover and then midway through it, there was loads of on-screen advertising for his sweep picking course. And it's like, well, now you're kind of like piggybacking off someone else's song on the release date of it, and you're tagging Michael in it in the hopes that he's going to share it. But really, I mean, much respect to you, Justin. What you've done is a better ad for your product than Michael Romeo's done for his. So, and you've used his product to do it. So good on you, sir.
That's some meta advertising. I love it.
Yeah, it's fucking tragic. And it wouldn't surprise me if Michael Romeo or someone from his team, because if the man can't do more than a telephone interview, I don't imagine he takes two shits about his social media. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if someone watched the first 5 seconds of it and was like, "Yep, cool, he's done a good job here," and then just shares it, and then Justin gets all this promotion for his product on the official pages. Shit show. Wake up. Some people deserve to be struggling in music, and some people don't. Michael doesn't deserve to be struggling in music, but there's going to come a point where when you're punching yourself in the face over and over and over, you're going to have to say, why do you keep punching yourself?
Why are these bruises here?
Yeah.
It's lunacy. You're right.
Put down the phone, pick up Skype, get a fucking video interview with people, fucking go out there. And you put all this time into an album, like you guys right now in Party Can, you've put so much time and effort into getting Volumes of Vomit together.
We've been sitting on this album for a year now.
Yeah.
We recorded it a year ago.
Sure. And I imagine that any member of the band would take any possible promotion that you possibly could. Anything, literally anything. If a YouTube channel with 100 subscribers wants to bring you on for a video interview, I imagine that you're going to jump on and take it, right?
We've gave out like promo copies for people to write reviews of to anybody that wanted it. Like not being snobby or shitty, because fucking listen to the album and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Cool, brilliant. You're right. It's just... I would like to think that Michael understands that you can't cut out or ignore people who maybe don't fall under the umbrella of certain companies you've already worked with, or that you maybe think that certain people are too small for you to work with or whatever, and not worth the effort. I'd like to think that's not the case, but it would be a very quick way of shutting yourself out of the majority of the market.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the case.
I don't
think that much thought would even have gone into it. You know what I mean? I think it would be that, what's it? It's probably still working this, what's this internet nonsense? Oh no, I don't want to deal with the internet. So that's just fucking losers in their bedrooms.
Can you imagine he's just got a rotary phone in the house?
Yeah, he might hear someone might phone him up on the telephone, obviously, because he's never going to see this video, and they might say, there's Levi Clay. He's been saying that your record label needs to really do something about this situation and the way you're doing things. And Michael might go, you know what? I think he's probably right. So he goes over to his desk and he gets his Rolodex out and starts peeling through it to try and find his record label's fucking phone number before he rotary dial. Yeah, no.
He's writing an angry fucking Morse code letter to them.
Yeah. And of course the reality here is, like, hopefully people can see the reason I'm being so harsh on Michael here is because I care. Like, I don't like seeing this because he's my favourite metal guitar player of all time. He deserves better than this, but there's no deserve, right? There's no like people just should have things. I think the better way of putting it is he has the potential to capitalise on this so much more than he is. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's ignorance or lack of care, but either way, it's not being done as well as it. Justin is doing a better job. So.
It could be just being comfortable.
Sure.
Like, it could just be he's happy where he's at and doesn't need to grow in his mind.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
It doesn't really make sense when you're bringing out new music for other people to listen to, unless you just think people like me and that'll be it.
Sure.
Anyway, you're right.
Let's keep going.
Yes. Oh, no, here we go. This is an advert in itself, isn't it?
Well, this was brought out like it was a new product, and this is why I was laughing at it.
Because it's not. This has been happening for years.
Yeah.
Samsung's smart LED-loaded Zamstar could light the way to learning guitar. A guitar app combo that also supports online jamming and recording. I think Behringer had a guitar that was like this, with lights in the fretboard and shit.
It doesn't
and it was like
seem to be a picture of it.
100 and a bit quid, maybe?
Yeah, here's the...
I'll just read through
the promo image, but no, we don't even need to read through it because we don't care about the product. And the reason we don't care about the product is
there have been these things on the market forever.
He says as he can't find an image. There we go. Actually, it seems that Mark McGuigan from this is Troglody's. Sorry, I just saw Master Guitar. I thought it was Master the Guitar.
Aye.
If I just bring this up. Here's the old Fretlight guitars. Like
pictures of loads of them. That's it. I'm certain that Behringer did one as well.
Here's the Fretline online store image, and you can see that there's an app for this. So this isn't new. This isn't exciting.
It's also fairly redundant. Well, not redundant, right? But I don't think it's quite as big a deal as they think it might be. It's not much of a selling point for anybody that has played a guitar in their life.
So here's a thing that I keep seeing more and more of, and it really irks me. It's like looking for new ways to teach people things. Now I don't take issue with that in itself, but it's the lack of logical consistency with things that really fucking bugs me. So I keep getting ads on my YouTube for is it maybe Pick Up Jazz? Or pick up music now, and they're constantly advertising their guitar course, and it's the old stop, wait, don't go on YouTube and learn guitar lessons, because when you do that, like, you're not getting a curated set of what you need is learning objectives and all these things of carefully curated content that is designed with your needs specifically, and I just really take issue with trying to put out this notion that trying to do things the way that you're doing things won't work. Because if we think about this logically, there's some nice guitar playing in the background of these videos, but it's like, okay, so that guy that's playing guitar there, did he learn to play the way he did with this course? No, he made the course, right? So he didn't learn with this course, and he's great. So he didn't need this course to be great. But he is great, and what you're saying is you need a course in order to be great. So what course did he use? And why not just promote that? And if he didn't use a course, then your entire notion that you can't achieve your goals without a course is bullshit as well. Hate it.
I come from a really I come from a different background to you. Obviously, you're very academic when it came to music. And when it comes to music, I like full through. I'm just
a basher.
Flying by the seat of my pants with my arse hanging out.
Yeah.
And you know what? Both work. It depends entirely on the person and how persistent you are and actually want to learn.
Yeah.
And what you want to do and how much time you're willing to put in, the effort you're willing to put in, and how passionate you are.
Yeah.
Like, that's not to shit on or to promote courses or not having a teacher or whatever. It's all personal, and having a good guitar teacher is invaluable in the sense that they will point you in the right direction, even if you are the one who leads what you're doing.
Yeah.
I had a great guitar teacher at high school, and that was essentially his approach was, right, well, rather than playing these shit things from rock school, what do you want to play?
Sure.
Well, I can play this. Right, cool, we could probably get that graded as higher, advanced, higher, whatever. And then that would be it. Like, I've told this a few times. Like, I played fucking Aces High by Iron Maiden with a friend of mine, Dave. Dave Nagib, I hope he's doing well. I've not heard from him in years. At high school. And we did trading solos and everything. To the fucking Invigilator. Yeah. They're used to hearing people going in and playing fucking Westlife and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wish I had that. I didn't have that. I didn't have any guitar lessons until I went to university.
It made a big
classical
difference.
Lessons.
Big difference to my approach in guitar in terms of, like, all right, cool. So it doesn't have to be steadfast learning this boring shit that's just there to tick a box versus this is the music that I like because there's passion in it.
I guess that what I really take issue with is that fear tactic, isn't it, in marketing? Like, you know, if you use other products or if you try and do it without us, you'll fail. You'll be nothing without us. Without our product, you're worthless.
It's also duplicitous because they then appeal to your sense of positive as well. Like, this is what you'll get from it, but what have you got to lose if you don't?
Yeah.
It's very horrible.
I am a member of some educational websites. I mentioned the piano website. I've not named them because I'm not working in promotion with them on anything. So
Pianob.
But I'm consuming a lot of jazz content on the piano, and thinking about it, none of their marketing ever felt like they were ever saying to me, if you don't join us, you will fail. If you can't succeed without our help. And I hate that, and it was why I went after the Hess crowd, because it was at the core, the idea was your guitar teacher is bad. You know, at the core, it was everything you're doing. Your guitar teacher doesn't know what he's doing. We need to sow that seed of doubt. So you think that the person that you're currently paying is bad for you, and we're the cure for that poison. I just hate it as a marketing mentality. It's just shady as fuck.
They appealed, or they tried to market to people in so many dishonest ways, and that's my personal opinion, to use the word dishonest. And even like the fucking, what was the course about fucking making women come and all that? You know what I mean? Like all that
guitar sex masterclass.
You know what? Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Guitars attract men, sweaty men. That's the gist of it. No, this is not the 80s anymore, and it wasn't the guitars that appealed to all these groupies when they went after rock stars. It was the fact, tight pants, loose morals,
cocaine,
cocaine. I was going to say drugs and alcohol on tap in good times.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you sitting in your bedroom, sweating your pan in. I'm going to learn this riff and then all these. Doesn't happen. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
Shiny bald head.
Doesn't happen. Deal with it.
Let's keep moving on.
Yes.
So PRS have announced that they are doing I thought we would bring this up not because I like this guitar, but because when we were looking at the Reverb guitar sales, it was the second or third best-selling guitar of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The John Mayer Silver Sky.
That's right.
So PRS have confirmed that they're releasing an SE version of the Silver Sky.
Interesting.
So I don't know how you feel about this.
Another Strat copy.
Yeah.
At least we're getting more variety in the market. Not.
I had a really weird experience with the Strat yesterday, and that was I was doing my live stream, and I had the Duvel here because I did a recording session on it yesterday, or the day before. So the guitar was next to me, so I picked that up to play it on the stream, and I was playing it, and I just had to put it down because I was like, I just don't like the way this guitar feels or sounds. And I picked up the Strat and immediately went, that's better. That's the sound that I'm expecting. That's what my ear is hearing. So I've become a real Strat guy. So who knows? Maybe these are. I mean, I hear from everyone that's played one. I hear these are very good.
I've heard the same, and
it's just a Strat.
Can't really shit on PRS. They've got their own legacy. I don't personally like the heels. I think they are bulky and cumbersome and not that comfortable. But that being said, I've played a few PRSs that blew me away.
Yeah.
We had a Hollow Body 2 when I worked in Magnum Sound that was an absolute fucking nailer. I believe it was a McCarthy.
Right.
So I've played a few SEs that were great, and quite a few of the 245s are really good. The SE 245, and I had a Tremonti SE at one point as well. That was a cool guitar, but I didn't really get on with single cuts all that well. Anyway, so PRS confirmed the long-awaited. Okay, we'll say long-awaited in your words. SE version of the Silver Sky.
I mean, again don't feel the need to read it. But we'll just talk about colours. Like I look at this and I go, okay, that kind
Malmsteen.
of exactly that Malmsteen colour. I don't mind the red. This is not the worst.
Aye.
The green is fine. This kind of
icy blue,
like a Lake Placid blue type thing. I think
stone blue, moon white, dragon fruit, evergreen, and stone blue.
I think dragon fruit is the nice finish there.
Aye, definitely.
But yeah,
they're cool looking guitars. They'll probably be great, but again, it's just
do they have prices for them?
There are so many. We're hoping for sub 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's personal preference. I don't think
I
I would
always
have
found
one.
strange about the PRS cut is I may have mentioned this on the podcast before. It's that bit there.
Mm-hmm.
It's that like what? Who is this for? This. It's like you have the cutout, but you didn't want it to be a full cutout, so you have like a bevel on the inside of the cutout because when your hand goes up on the neck, you turn it into the body of the guitar and you need more room there. This shouldn't impact you in any way, shape or form.
I can tell you exactly why that's on that guitar.
Oh.
So Fender didn't get shitty. Because look at the dimensions of it. It's almost exactly a Strat.
They have that's on all of their like...
Totally. Yeah. And it's also a nod to PRS's way of scalloping / cutting the horns. Other brands would do that in the back to give you better access to the heel. Yeah. They've done it, maybe as an aesthetic thing, but maybe as a nod to their own guitars. Because a lot of their models have got that, I agree with you.
Yeah, not a fan.
Pointless. Not pointless.
Okay, let's just bring Spencer Eldon up again. Ha fuckhead.
Ha fuckhead. That should be the headline. Well, this was reported on the 4th. Lawsuit over Nevermind's album art that Spencer Eldon lobbied against Nirvana was dismissed by a judge on Monday, January the 3rd, after Eldon, the 30-year-old man photographed for the album cover when he was a baby, missed a deadline to file an opposition in his case. It's a bit of a shit reason to fucking shite it, but Eldon had until the 30th of December to refile after members of the defunct grunge band and the related business entities sought a dismissal 2 weeks ago. They said Eldon had spent the last 3 decades profiting from his celebrity as the Nirvana baby, and that the suit was past the statute of limitations. I don't know about the statute of limitations, but the first argument should be all you need to say. Yeah. You can't say, oh, look at all this money I can make off this. This is really cool. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to work with these major publications to remake it, and then go, well, actually, that's a bit wrong in it.
Statute of limitations is a weird one as well, isn't it? Because it's
quite a US thing.
If you manage to have a case dismissed based on statute of limitations, you've won on a technicality there, right? If you are in your 70s and someone unearths footage of you fucking children in your 20s, right? There's no, oh yeah, but that's way past the statute of limitations. Like, and if you manage to get away with that, then it's still very much like but you're still a shithead. So statute of limitations, no thank you.
I think the statute of limitations probably wouldn't come into effect in regards to child pornography
I
and
was
child
going
rape.
dramatic,
But
obviously.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's a bit of a cop-out of a one.
Burglary or whatever it happens to be. Like,
Totally.
here's footage of you burgling someone from 40 years ago. Ah, well, statute of limitations, so I've done nothing wrong. Like, you're a shithead.
I don't think the statute of limitations argument is saying that you haven't done anything wrong. It's saying that we've left it too long to do anything about it. Which I don't necessarily agree with, but...
Yeah.
Judge Fernando M. Olguin,
yeah,
guessing that's how you say it, presiding over the case at the US District Court in Central California, dismissed the suit on Monday evening, as Variety reported. However, the dismissal was made with leave to amend. That means Eldon has another chance to refile an amended complaint against Nirvana with a new deadline of January 13th.
Won't happen.
He would have to argue against the alleged defects in the defendant's motion to dismiss, such as the claim that the suit is time-barred. If he misses the new deadline, the suit can't continue. Plaintiff is cautioned that failure to timely file a second amended complaint, shall result in the action being dismissed without prejudice for failure to prosecute and or failure to comply, the current ruling says.
We don't need to go any further on that.
We don't. He's not going to file it. He probably didn't file the other one because the arguments that they've made have went, is this really worth their money?
Yeah. I imagine
and he's already got all the publicity he wants from it.
But he can't really capitalise on that publicity. I would imagine that when he
started, because he's already done all of that, which was the only reason. But he has kind of won because people now know about his art that he wanted the Foo Fighters to come to, that they did. Nirvana members to go to, that they didn't.
But he didn't win the PR war. He didn't win in the court of public opinion. So the fact that people know about his art but think he's a shithead now.
Not everybody will think he's a shithead just because we do. Because we can see the common sense side of it.
But I think that's probably why he hasn't followed through on this, because he filed the case knowing that it was going to create a lot of press. And then I think he was probably very, very surprised that I don't think I've seen anyone that has his back. There was that one woman that it was interviewed on, but she was working on the case where she was talking about child porn and things like that.
That's what I mean.
So I imagine seeing how much no one has his back on this, and everyone's for months been making fun of him, and then the Foo Fighters fight back, like Dave Grohl's lawyers fight back on this. Suddenly it's like, okay, so if we want to refile this, not only have I got an infinitesimally small chance of winning this.
What a great choice of word, by the way.
People think I'm a shithead, and it's going to cost me loads of money.
Yes.
So yeah,
he's fucked it. Is the gist it? He's fucked it. Spencer Eldon, you have fucked it, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and you could have just shut your fucking mouth and spent the rest of your life as the Nirvana baby, and that would have been cool, and people would have liked you for that. And you'd be in your 50s, your 60s, and you'd be able to go, did you guys know I was actually that baby on the Nirvana album? That's me.
I can do one better.
That would have been cool.
He would have still been able to capitalise on it, as he has done already with, what was it, NME and a couple other big, the New York Times as well, and a couple of really big publications. Yeah. That could have been on for years and years, but now you have absolutely trounced that, because the minute you try to do it, people are going to go, it's funny that lawsuit where you were saying you didn't want to be remembered as that child, but somehow you want to make that money from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's almost like you're only bothered about it potentially being child pornography when you can make money from it.
Yeah. And now he's in this glorious position where, financial benefits aside, he can't even socially use it. He can't even, refer to himself as the Nirvana baby socially.
That cunt.
Yeah.
And not the nice way.
Because it's like, if he's like, oh yeah, that Nirvana baby, that's actually me, you're just going to immediately go and jump in and go, hang on, shouldn't you be suffering some sort of PTSD over that situation? I thought it was just like a really bad example of child pornography, and like you desperately feel that there was an injustice and that something needed to be done about it. Fuck this guy. Fuck him right into the bin.
I only hope that this hasn't been someone like a no-win, no-fee lawyer in his ear that's pushed this forward.
More likely, more often than not, that'll be the case in something like this. It is more likely.
And in that context, were that to be the case, I don't think I would find him all that repulsive and his actions all that repulsive, because he's probably potentially went on good faith that he was going to get something from it. Yeah. Positive. Because he did get something from
actually,
it.
on reflection, probably not. Actually, what am I talking about? Who's going to take a case like that on a no-win, no-fee basis when they just don't have a case?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't have a case.
You would imagine the lawyer would have known.
No, maybe not no-win, no-fee. You know what I mean? Like, I think this has been someone who has maybe finessed him into doing it. Yeah. Talked him into, well, actually, you should see this as an injustice.
Yeah, I'll do this for you for $5,000, but when you win, you're going to make millions. Sort of thing.
Aye.
Yeah. Okay, so
what I'll charge is negligible compared to what you're probably going to make from it.
exactly.
And then you'll always be known as the Nirvana baby, the one that beat Nirvana and made all the money after they took pictures of your willy. Not how it happened, but sound. David Lee Roth cancels his final concerts.
Yeah.
This was a wee bit of a sad one.
Cancels rather than reschedules.
Yes.
So
Exactly. I would like to think that... Actually, I don't want to think that David is actually calling it a day, because I would still quite like to see David Lee Roth, but...
we were relatively confident it was health-related issues, wasn't it?
Aye. So Classic Rock's ultimate showman may have taken his final bow on a Texas stage opening for Kiss. Probably not the way David Lee Roth wanted it all to end. Nonetheless, instead of closing out his career with a Las Vegas residency, David Lee Roth has cancelled all of his final performances at the Mandalay Bay's House of Blues in Las Vegas. Initially, he'd just cancelled his New Year's Eve and New Year's Day performances and had actually rescheduled them for mid-February. The postponed shows were due to concerns over the spread of the Omicron variant. However, just a little while ago, David cancelled the entire run with no rescheduled shows. No definitive reason was given behind the final show's cancellations. Sorry, my legs are cold.
I was going to say, you okay? You're just like, oh, that's really
stroking myself mid-story. You'd be a bit concerned if I was stroking myself and I was managed to use two hands like this. You can only imagine the size of it. It's a bit concerning that no reason was given why the final shows were cancelled.
No, it's not.
I know.
You just say because COVID.
No, but what they say when it's a bit concerning is, but we want to keep gigging.
Yeah,
I think probably mean that in terms of as a fan who probably had tickets,
Sure.
or for fans who had tickets.
Yeah.
It's also like, before I go on reading, like, you would need to be very certain that you weren't going to do it again, were you to cancel something that was in fucking Mandalay Bay's House of Blues.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking opportunity to play there, especially if you've got a residency.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably fairly certain about what he wants to do. Hopefully it's because of concerns of the lightning fast spread of the Omicron variant. We're based in New York, and so many people we know, some who have even been triple vaccinated, are still getting COVID. It's a scary time, and no one should be upset with David if he cancels the shows out of COVID concerns. We just hope there are no other health reasons related for cancelling. I think the rest of it is no worth reading. It's also really badly written, isn't it?
I don't know about badly written. It's like the understanding of what your goal as a writer is missing. Like, you're supposed to be giving us the news.
More colloquial and informal.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to influence public opinion on this. You know, you're trying to encourage people to not be angry at David Lee Roth because life is hard when you get old. Like, what the fuck is this guy? Who wrote this shit?
To be fair, it's on a website called Classic Rock History.
Sure. Well, I'm sorry, this isn't history if it's present, so...
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Jeez, this was an interesting one.
Yeah.
Fender CEO on guitar and amp stock shortages. And the quote is, "We're not optimistic at this point. It's going to get significantly better for at least 2, maybe 3 quarters." I mean, it's only half, 3 quarters a year, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But it's no secret demand for guitars has been up since the first lockdowns due to the pandemic, and Fender CEO Andy Mooney has now confirmed that has continued, with stock shortages set to continue for the foreseeable future. I think eventually it's going to get better, Mooney reasoned in a new interview with CNBC. I think the big question is when. We're not optimistic at this point. It's going to get significantly better for at least 2, maybe 3 quarters. The shortages aren't just reportedly affecting guitars, but amps too.
I'd imagine probably amps more than guitars because of electrical components.
Mm-hmm. Aye, fair.
I guess you do have electrical components in guitars, but
at the same time, there's a lot of
valve shortages and things like that.
Yeah, because basically no one's making them anymore.
Yeah.
I think the only place that was doing it was Shanghai we spoke about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In China. Who were actually just using all the old Russian equipment. It's probably now packed in. Mooney confirmed that Fender had increased prices about 10% over the last 12 months, but it had now slowed demand. It's truly remarkable, the demand that's out there. People want to use their time at home wisely and invest in activities they really feel good about. So there's the good news. And it's undeniable that Fender plays helping them to do that. Oh, fuck off. What an advert. There you go.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
Absolute advert. Mooney also revealed to CNBC that Fender had recently conducted research that found there had been 16 million new entrants picking up the guitar since the pandemic began. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to go any further because this is just an advert now.
You think?
Tell me it's no.
Well, I'm not seeing any more about Fender Play.
People bought our guitars and that was it, so further down he starts talking about all the people that have been buying them. Anyway, Mooney confirmed the specific issues on the electronic side include chip shortages that have affected Fender amplifier production and also transportation issues and the container issues in the US that have set significant backlogs at Long Beach's shipping port that handles huge volumes of imports.
I mean, we know that to be the case from Perry, don't we? So
it's the case for every fucking brand on earth, I think.
Yeah.
There's a massive shortage at the moment for electrical components for graphics cards and processors, and that's another thing. So it's just going to knock-on effect on everything, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's go move on quickly and do I guess it's the main story, but penultimate story at the same time, because we've got the big Jew story.
It's an interesting one to talk about, yes.
That'll have people hanging on the edge of their seats like, what's this big Jew story that isn't David Lee Roth? We'll find out in a second, guys.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
So this was on BBC News on the 20th of December, so it's a little bit older, but it's still it's one of those kind of evergreen stories. This will always be relevant. Why touring bands struggle to make money on merchandise.
Because everybody keeps trying to take money off us.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah, and it needs to be brought up, because I think you see it time and time again, people that stream music on Spotify and don't pay for Spotify, or people that don't even stream music and they still download it illegally or whatever. People justifying paying so little for music. They're like, oh, it's okay though. Well, it's one of two things, isn't it? They always say it's okay though because you get to make your money when you go out and tour. You get to make your money when you go out and play shows. Obviously, just isn't the case. But the other one, the worst one is, yeah, but you don't need to make money because you do something you love. You went into music knowing that you wouldn't make any money, but it's okay because you love it.
I went into music thinking I wouldn't make any money to start with.
Yeah.
And like any investment you make in life, the more you do things in a practice sense, you hope to become professional.
Yeah.
Professional means you get paid for the services.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, actually, just throwing some numbers out on this. So we're in the process of booking some festival stuff for Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did Capers, was the glamping festival after lockdown, they got paid £1,200 for that, which is
good fee,
which is fine. Yeah,
it's
which
good
is
fee.
fine. We're now looking at doing Eden Garden Party on the main stage for that, and they want to pay.
Like Kelburn is Eden Festival, isn't it? It used to be Kelburn.
Kelburn Garden Party. Yeah.
Aye. I think Kieran went to Kelburn at one point. So
yeah.
Aye, okay, sorry. Yep. So they want to pay for main stage.
£500.
I don't think that's to do with anything other than people, because quite honestly, Party Cannon get the same thing.
This is headline support for something that there's going to be 10,000 people at.
Totally.
Selling tickets. Like it's but the point is, if a small festival can pay more than double that, something in a big city should be able to stump up and pay a little bit fucking more than £500. Like that's not enough to pay the members of the band. It's all well and good if you're doing the kind of the Party Cannon thing, which is like it's a band that you guys all have, where you're all part of it, and realistically you can go out and play gigs literally for free. Because you do it all, you guys do it because you love it, and you're going to sell merchandise and all that. And then,
but we're not paying anybody to do the set with us. You're right, we're not hiring musicians or staff or fucking sound guys or
whereas
whatever.
the money you make in merchandising goes into to cover all costs and all of that. Whereas with the Smoking Crows, like every member of that band other than Melissa is a session musician, so every gig everybody needs to be paid. And I just can't see a world where, and it's like this touring idea, like when we play Butterfly and Pig. We get paid X amount. Each band member is going to get paid X amount of money. And now, like big festivals like this, put you in a position where you need to go to your band members or go to the musicians that you work with and say, look, you're going to be playing to more than 100 times people than you normally would. And the event that we're going to be at is going to be making more than 100 times more than playing in somewhere like Butterfly and Pig. But for reasons, we've got to pay you less.
So, in the same mindset, we talk about people being responsible for agreeing to deals and whatever else,
yes.
and that comes down to the musicians and the bands of saying yes or no as well.
Yeah.
And it's hard to balance out what, like, as if exposure has a fucking value, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just doesn't, right?
Oh, this is going to be the biggest gig that we'll get to play all year, and it's going to expose us to tons more people, and we'll get loads more bookings. We don't need more fucking bookings like this.
On top of that, like, unless I'm going out, the only free exposure I would take is if somebody was like, right, you're going to go on an episode of Joe Rogan and play a full fucking set there.
Sure.
Millions, like unbelievable numbers.
Yeah.
No for a couple of 100,000, or sorry, even for a couple of thousand, sorry. Yeah. And that might sound a bit strong-headed and shitty, but just to back up points you've made before, like you need to choose your own value. You need to set out how much you think your band is worth and what your time and your effort and all those years of hard work, all the money you've invested in practice spaces and strings and fucking equipment and travel and all the shit you've been through.
Yeah.
You need to set your own value. And it's hard. It's really hard because sometimes you feel as if you don't want to say no to gigs that could be really good. Not just because you would enjoy playing it.
Yeah,
because you would get something else from it. You're always going to have
the enjoyment, the love, and like.
Exactly.
But that's where I feel like the advantage is being taken, isn't it? It's like the organisers of events like this are like, yeah, but we can lowball you on this because you're doing it for the love of playing music. You just want to be in front of people and playing, and it's like, motherfucker, why aren't you doing it for the love of it? Why aren't you just putting gigs on for the fucking love of it?
I don't. It's such a shitty argument because you don't hear people saying to artists, "Oh, you should definitely just paint," or like, "I fucking home decorator. I come in and paint my house. You love painting. Just fucking do it." Going, I'll tell people you done it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah. And
Cunt.
And then we go on to this story, like why bands struggle to make money on merchandise. Like it's entirely possible that in a scenario like that, the venue that you're at takes a cut on all the merchandise that you're selling.
A lot of festivals and stuff will do that. They'll sell all your merch for you, but they'll take 25 to 30%.
Yeah. Now let's just and reading this this tweet here, 25 to 30% of the full selling price. Vinyl doesn't even have that markup to begin with. Like 25%, taking 25% of like how? I know we know it's what you said, isn't it? It's musicians agree to the deals, right? Bands
there's a lot
agree to the deals.
It doesn't help any that sometimes that's just part of the terms of you playing that gig. So you might get good money for the show and it's a great opportunity for your band and whatever else. But part of that is if you want to sell merch, you're only allowed 1, 2, 3 pieces and we're doing all the merch. So therefore, anything that gets sold, we take this amount.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's more of a tacit agreement than an actual agreement. But
and it's the sort of thing that if, again, and you're going to sound like you now, if we were more unionised as musicians and we were like, well, no, that's not happening.
It's almost like there is a union for musicians.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember the name of it though.
Well, in theory, yes, but you don't see the musicians union jumping in and on scenarios like this and telling all the members don't play in venues where they do stupid shit like this.
Can't really blame them. I don't think there's all that many actual active musicians, certainly, and at the level that we're talking about that actually get involved that way. Yeah. And it should be a grassroots campaign, but we don't. And I'm a hypocrite for that too. Of course,
I look at something like the Hydro, right? If I'm playing in the Hydro, people aren't coming to see me because it's the Hydro. You know, they're coming to see me because it's fucking me, right? That's why I'm being paid the big bucks to play the fucking Hydro, and they're buying the merchandise because it's got my fucking name on it, my branding on it, the thing that I have spent my entire career building up and putting value on. And obviously I don't have that level, but the Foo Fighters, like Dave Grohl has spent a lifetime building up the Foo Fighters brand now to the point where things that say the Foo Fighters on have value. Nobody says, I want a Foo Fighters shirt, but I really, really want it to be bought at the Hydro. The Hydro is irrelevant. They're just skimming off the top, and this isn't skimming. 25% is not fucking skimming.
No, it's not.
25% is taking a significant portion of the pie. And for what? Because you're being an asshole and saying, well, you either give us 25% or you don't get to sell anything. If somebody says that to you, you don't go, okay, you can have 25%. You say, okay, cool, I won't put the fucking show on here. How's that? And you won't have all these tens of thousands of people coming in and buying drinks and buying food and having a good time. You'll go out of business. I won't go out of business. The musician, I'm not going to go out of business because I can play fucking anywhere. I can set up a fucking gig in a field and put on a gig myself and make all the fucking money. I am making you money here. Stop trying to take more of it.
Yes, but that's only if you're playing the Hydro. It's not going to work if you're playing at fucking Eden Festival or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can negotiate terms. I'm not saying that's not a possibility, and you should if you think you can. But more often than not, there's probably not that much wiggle room, which is a bit of a shame because, as we're talking about, like 25% of your sales is a lot of money, depending on what you're selling, and potentially cuts right into whatever you actually are supposed to make from that. Like, it's easy to think, fuck, we sold 50 t-shirts tonight, that's £1,000, but we to pay £250 out. What did the t-shirts cost us to have? How much did we spend to get here?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way you're going to work out your actual margins, and it's the only way you're going to work out whether you're actually being financially feasible or whether you're just costing yourself money for the sake of having a t-shirt.
Well, of course, and the reality of this is, you know, if a t-shirt costs you £7 to manufacture, or let's just throw numbers out there, right? T-shirt. Let's just say t-shirts cost you X to manufacture, and then ship, and then associated taxes of all of that shit. Then you're transporting it to a venue, and you're selling it. There's a markup on the product.
Yes.
And you want that markup to be at a point where the revenue that you're generating from it is enough to justify all the work that you're fucking putting in, and the fact that you don't make any money from streaming. This 25%, there's two ways that that's dealt with, right? One of it is, well, this is our margin. Our margin is X, and we're going to make this amount of money, but now we're going to be losing a chunk of that. And it's not 25% of the margin they're taking, it's 25% of everything.
Exactly.
So you're probably losing your entire margin on that 25%. So how do bands deal with that? Well, we just have to put our prices up more. So the margins are big enough that we can justify these costs. So realistically, bands are getting fucked over on this, but consumers are getting fucked over just as much.
It's always the same. The people who have the money keep the money.
And when I was younger, when I went to see big bands in big arena type things, it would irk me that merchandise in those scenarios was so expensive. And there's that inevitable, like, well, why am I going to pay £30 for a t-shirt here? I'll just buy it online when I go home.
And it's like a front print, whereas if I buy it off their site, it's got front and back.
Yeah.
And it's probably printed in a better quality t-shirt.
Yeah, and now I'm older and wiser and grumpier, I get to look at that and I'm like, actually, were the band actually trying to take advantage of me? I mean, to a degree, yes.
Depends on the bands. Or
were they being pushed into this scenario by having to give away fucking tons of their revenue to the venue owner?
Everybody seems to take their cut.
Anyway, let's read the story.
Sure. We'll need to juke the ultimate one. This can be the ultimate one because actually it turns out that's 8 years old. Because I googled it to get the full story, and yeah, it's 8 years old.
But we're going to I'm sorry, we're still going to have to make mention of it, not because it's an interesting story, but because I said the big Jew one.
Okay.
We can't just disappear from that, because then people will be like, what was that? That would be the biggest the anti-Semitic cock tease of the century.
It's quite ironic the story's about anti-Semitism.
Exactly.
So, buying a branded t-shirt, hat or poster at a gig might feel like a great way to support your favourite bands and artists, but many struggle to actually make any money out of it. Soon as Isle of Wight indie band Coach Party finish a gig, they run over to their merchandise stand and start trying to sell t-shirts. When they don't run the stand themselves, they'll have to pay someone else to do it. And when they've already spent £8 on the cost of making a £20 t-shirt, you can see why they're keen to cut corners to make the most profit possible. It's really hard to make money out here as a musician, singer and bassist Jesse Eastwood tells Newsbeat. You've got so much cost behind you with production, producing records, fuel to get around the country, hotels to stay in, van hire, you'll be lucky to break even. Bands and industry figures have told Newsbeat that some venues take up to 20% of merchandise sales, up to 30%. Yeah. Others have deals with concession companies that run the merchandise stands and take up to 25%, whether you want the service or not. No. She says this can be a bit of a blow on tour when we rely on every penny we get. The commission charge was recently criticised by the charlatans Tim Burgess, who says smaller bands need merch income to survive. It's bang on the fucking money. Yeah. The liquidity of money that you have when you're on tour is from merch. Yeah. Because your guarantee pays for the stuff that you've already set out. I know it's going to cost X amount of money for fuel to get here. That pays this pays that. Anything else on top is the spending money. That's where your liquidity definitely comes in. And anybody that says it isn't, gets paid too much, is in a very good position of being paid too much, or hasn't been on tour.
And there's all those other things that they throw in there, which is cost of fuel. Like, fuel costs are going up and up and up, and people don't factor that in. This t-shirt is expensive because fuel is fucking expensive. And hotels, like you guys, wherever possible, are sleeping on people's floors, right, to keep costs as low as possible. And it's just...
More than once we have slept in like a Premier Inn or a Travelodge and got a single bed in a room and 4 of us have slept on the floor.
Yeah.
That in America, at one point we had nowhere to stay one night. 3 bands worth of people. I think there was about 17 of us, and we got into 2 double single rooms. The owners were not very happy, but they let us stay.
Yeah.
They were like, as long as you're out in the morning and there's no hassle, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like,
these are the things that you have to do.
You have to be thrifty. You have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, and that's with you making merchandise money.
Exactly. That's us trying to accommodate as best we can. But it probably helps as well that we are, for want of a better term, into the Scottish fucking stereotype, tight as fuck. Well, we do our best to minimise costs.
But it's not just a Scottish thing. Like, this is across the industry. Like, and actually, if we reference the first thing that we talked about today, you're currently trying to sell an old set of speakers for £40. Like, if you were making so much money on merchandise that you were just rolling in money and laughing at how much profit you were making on everything, you wouldn't be selling speakers for £40.
If Party kind of made any money in terms of actually us making personal money, then I'd be a much better position in my life. I had a nice extra revenue stream, but it's not quite there yet. Could be coming.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to say that, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Excuse me, done the wrong way.
I'm going to pretend that I'm going to edit this out, but it's probably not going to happen.
In response, some venues are changing their policies. We would never intend.
Would you like me to read this?
No.
In response, some venues
Shut
are changing their policies. We would never intend for emerging artists to be subsidising a venue like us.
Liar.
Says Helen Jewell of the old
Fucking
marketing
liar.
brand. Yeah,
what that actually is shit, we've been caught.
Yeah. Until recently, the venue charged a percentage or a fee to acts selling merchandise there, but we've listened to the artists that were raising this issue.
Sorry, Helen. What you actually mean is the BBC have got wind of it and it's now become an actual major thing, whereas the bands that have definitely brought it up to you consistently for all the time they played at their venue have been ignored.
Yeah, because like, hang on, you needed a band to come to you and say that, hang on, you taking money from us is actually really hard for us. Like, you made that decision at some point to take money from these people, and you knew that, like, nobody ever thinks, well, I'm just going to take some of your income. You won't mind. Continue. You can read now.
Okay,
your voice is back. I can't read.
You can't read, that's true. Venues and musicians alike have suffered during COVID, with the Music Venue Trust recently warning that its members are currently losing £2 million a week. I fucking wish I had £2 million a week to lose. Every single penny absolutely matters right now, says Helen, but without artists we are nothing, correct?
Yeah.
But we have to look at the right places for trying to get this much needed income. Tell you what, see the next time the brewery turns up to change your kegs, tell them you're going to charge them 35% per pint.
Yeah, that's a really fucking good point. Really fucking good point. They provide stuff for you to sell. You don't charge them a premium in order to do so.
Yeah.
If you are struggling to make money in a venue, okay, you're struggling to make money in a venue, charge more for your pints. Charge more for the things that you're selling to people. Charge more for the things that you're bringing to the fucking table. But of course, you can't do that because you already charge silly amounts for the products anyway. And okay, so I guess what I'm saying here is there's no way for venues to be able to make money. Either you need to charge more for your products, your pints and things like that, to the point that it's so expensive that people won't pay it, or you just need to accept that what you have isn't viable. And I'm sorry, this might be a really fucking tough pill to swallow, but I'm cold hard business at all fucking times. If that's the reality of the situation, if what you have isn't sustainable, then it isn't viable.
Yep.
And
it's not a business.
Yeah. So sometimes the best thing to do is to just accept that and end it. Now, I don't want that to be the case. I think that in order for venues to make money, they need to charge more for the things they're providing. They need to charge more for their tickets and you know what I mean? Like, just anywhere that they are making money, they need to charge more. Taking it from the bands won't fucking help you because it just pisses off the bands. So, and if consumers aren't willing to pay it, then maybe put a little bit more fucking money into trying to influence what consumers are willing to spend on things. Because the problem is, and I've said it time and time again, we're consumers as well as creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Consumers are the fucking problem. People think that music should be fucking free, and until we can change people's mindset on things like that, then it's game over. It's just game over. People think that, well, I can go to my local Wetherspoons and get a pint for £1.90. So when I go and see a band, I should be paying £1.90 for a pint. And it's like, I do understand why you would feel that way, and it would be wonderful if that was the case. But the average punter needs to understand about business a little bit fucking more, and how everybody involved needs to make money, because unless everybody is making money in this scenario, the thing can't continue.
Mm-hmm.
The Smoking Crows, Melissa Kelly and the Smoking Crows, realistically can't play for £500. And if they do play for £500, Melissa literally won't get paid anything, and I won't take any money home. And we'll actually have to use that £500 in order to pay everyone else in the band. And that's just dumb. That's not viable
it's not business.
in the long run. So pay fucking more. Understand that people, when you go see a gig at a big venue, there is so many people involved. So many fucking people involved. And you have to, as a consumer, collectively as consumers, have to pay. You have to foot the bill for that. There's no one else that gets to foot the bill for that. The band provide all the music, and then you've got sound people, and you've got people that pull the pints, and people that make the pints, and people that sell the merchandise, and all of this. The only way for any of that to be paid for is the people that attend it pay for that thing. And that has to be a combination of ticket sales, and merchandise sales, and drink sales, and food sales, and all these things. But there is no outside income that's coming into that to keep this thing afloat other than the people that go to the shows, right? Or sponsors, I guess, to a degree.
Sponsors usually give you some free some advertising and a couple of things you can hand out, promo stuff, rather than actually pay money, I would think, for the majority of musicians.
I mean,
everybody's very
if you think that Monster Energy don't pay Five Finger Death Punch,
I'm talking about bands that aren't as big as them.
Yeah, I mean, like on the low level, the idea of a sponsor is non-existent. It's just not going to happen. But that's the point. So, like, it's the people that go and see the gig that pay for everything. So, if you're one of these people that goes to a gig and you feel that you're being fucking ripped off here, you just need to look around you and go, is what I'm getting this evening better than just sitting in a Wetherspoons? And if the answer to that is yes, then you would expect it to cost you more.
Of course, it's going to be better than going to Wetherspoons. Same people that would moan about paying, or they get a pint for $1.90, probably haven't realised that Wetherspoons have never played music in their venues because they wouldn't pay for a PRS licence.
Yeah. Well, there's an element of truth to that. But also at the same time, like, they also own Lloyd's Bars, and Lloyd's Bars do have music on, and that's the distinction between the two.
Oh, is it
Lloyd's,
really? Okay.
Lloyd's Bar, and they play music, and Wetherspoons is the quiet place, and I prefer the quiet place because when I'm sitting in, I don't care about music in a fucking pub because I want to talk to my fucking pals when I'm having a drink.
There's nothing quiet about Wetherspoons, man. It's usually full of
That's
raving
true.
morons.
That's true.
I saw a guy get pinted in the Wetherspoons in Wishaw.
Sorry, pinted
Smashed in the face with a pint glass
with a.
by one of his friends sitting at the same table for no reason. They were sitting having a laugh.
Was the
giggling,
drink
joking.
in there?
The
Or
drink
was it just an empty?
might have been gone.
Oh,
But
right, okay.
group of friends sitting around the couches and the table, laughing, whatever else. 2 minutes later, guy gets up and walks out. Other guy stands up and is covered head to toe in blood.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
It's a pinted. I don't think I've heard pinted before. Glassed, sure. But when you, in my mind, when you said pinted, that was the difference in my mind.
Right.
Glassed is an empty glass, whereas pinted, the drink is still in there.
Oh, it doesn't really matter. If that's your
Much more
distinction, I like
dramatic.
it. I like
Much more
it.
dramatic. Like an explosion of beer. Like.
Say, was it Jim Jeffries that made that joke about the UK, the only country to use glass as a verb?
Right, let's just quickly, because I can't tease people.
No, let's laugh about it, right? It was 8 years old, but...
Tell me what happened.
So, my understanding is, right, I'll read this article. This is for Rolling Stone, it's for 2014. I thought
I'll
it was
wait
recent.
to bring up the picture.
Yeah. Macklemore, an outspoken voice for open-mindedness in hip-hop, has rankled select fans by wearing a costume some have construed as anti-Semitic. At a surprise performance at the Experience Music Project Museum, the rapper performed with an oversized-nosed, bowl-cut wig and Hadisic-looking beard attached to his face. Following the performance, several people expressed their dismay at Macklemore on Twitter. The rapper responded to the outcry with a tweet, but did not express contrition. A fake witch's nose, wig and beard is not a random costume. Sorry, not my idea of a stereotype of anybody.
No, nice try, sir. Nice try. I'm not even going to go after, because actually, like, generally speaking, things like this, like the stereotyping thing, it doesn't offend me in any way, shape, or form. You can stereotype me, and it doesn't offend me in any way, shape, or form.
But you and I, as
but to
individuals,
pretend it's not the case.
But not just that, you and I as individuals have not been stereotyped for years and years and years, and it had a negative effect on us for a characteristic or a part of our identity that doesn't actually affect anything else.
Sure.
Versus what could very easily be construed as a targeted attack on people, certain people. Not helpful at all that this is a certain people who have more or less been shit on throughout history consistently.
Sure.
But you're right. The take that I posted as well is pretty good. If we can find that. The one that I sent you. It was that for one of the other articles.
Comment.
Yeah, it was for an article. I don't remember exactly what article it came from. But we don't know what's going on here, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not all that serious. But it's another example of how context is what matters when we're metabolising stuff like this. Sure, it's possible he didn't realise that the nose, wig and beard, taken together with his performing a song about the joys of frugality, might converge into a kind of racist Voltron. But that would be like frolicking through a fruit patch, tripping face first into a dirt pit, and then emerging, dazed and face blackened, clutching a watermelon. Your story might in fact be legit, but so many things would have to go wrong in a particular order that you would kind of have to understand if no one believed you.
Yeah.
What a fucking good take.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anyone is that obtuse. I don't think anyone is that. I'm sorry. No one is that stupid. No one is. I'll bring the image up. No one is that stupid. No.
I mean, what witches are they talking about? They've got a witch's nose like that. Like a witch's nose is usually long and pointy and green.
Yeah.
Fucking green.
I see no warts on it.
He's not a witch.
Sure.
Witches generally don't have beards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or wear suits.
Yeah. It's just like I just can't fathom. I can't fathom like, oh, I want a silly costume to wear. Many times in my life, I've wanted a silly costume to wear, right? And never has any of, well, I guess maybe a big nose you might factor a big nose into a silly costume, but never like, oh, I want a silly costume, let's have a beard. Beards are silly, aren't they?
Generally speaking, with a silly costume, if you're talking about having a big nose, it would usually be a big nose with a silly moustache and the big rimmed glasses.
Exactly.
Right? It comes as a part of a full setup, which was, what was the American comedian that looked like that? You'll know who I'm on about. I think it was basically based on him. Big wiggly tash.
Groucho Marx.
It might have been Groucho Marx, actually. You could be bang on with that one. But you get what I mean, right?
Well, no. Did he have big glasses? Maybe.
I'm sure he had like weird round glasses. Basically, he looked like a Marxist Frank Zappa. Didn't he? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Big silly glasses, tash nose. Ha ha ha! That's a funny costume. Not a funny costume.
No, not. It's not. It's just not a funny costume.
And if it was by accident, you are ignorant to the point of dangerous.
Unfortunately, it's an 8-year-old story though, so I'm going to end it on that one.
Yes.
8 years old, Mike. What on earth were you thinking? Have you considered checking the dates of stories? There are lots of things that you need to learn in life before you're doing stories. For example, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless V's, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. Thank you Perry, for hiding my double crown today. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like hair loss. I shaved my hair because my hair was getting thin from constantly wearing that ponytail. And now it's growing back in, and I'm like, oh, but I hate how it is now as well. So no matter what happens, I just want to hide my head, basically. Just this is going to be me now, hat.
I think it doesn't help any that you shaved it and then just let it grow in. You haven't styled it. I'm pretty sure if you went to the barbers and the sides trimmed in and stuff, you wouldn't be bothered.
It's now at the stage where the length where I could absolutely go to a barber's and have it fixed.
I really need to go to the barber's, man. Like, it's getting a bit unwieldy, and it's not the top that's the problem, it's the sides.
Yeah. Nice.
Nah, not so nice.
Good work. So
anyway.
I don't really know what that has to do with Rev or Ormsby, but you know, when you've been working with companies for as long as we have in examples like this, what more can you say? We like what they make. Go and check out what they make. They're good people. They're extra good people, because if you're watching this video at this point in an hour and 20 minutes or so, they are helping to support content that you enjoy. So if you can't afford to go and buy one of their products, go and tell somebody about their products. That's how this whole deal works. So go do that. I don't think we have anything to add. I would like to end the show.
No, we can't end the show. What we also need to say is that Rev and Ormsby do sell merch, but if you buy it through us telling you about it, we get a 30% cut. That's just how it works, I'm sorry. And until they say they're not happy with that, then we can't say, well, really, we shouldn't be taking money off of them.
Yeah, it never occurred to us. It just never occurred to us.
We're taking money off of these people?
Yeah.
What? You're kidding? That must be hard for them.
Yeah. Go check out our Teespring. There might potentially be some changes to how Buy Me a Coffee works in future. Send us some fan mail, all of that good stuff. Mike, until next time.
Thank you for your support. I love you very much. Please be safe. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. Stay hydrated.